Hi everyone, this is your mate Flint, and finally I managed to get my hands on a copy of the vinyl version of Mgła's latest release, Exercises in Futility, and that's the perfect time for a new album review. So let's start. Mgła is a two-man combo with session musicians for their live appearances from Krakow in Poland, who spread the word of black metal since the year 2000. During the last years, the band's reputation for delivering top-tier music grew and their star began to shine. This is definitely due to their very good debut, Groza, and the successor, With Hearts Towards None. Actually, this is one of the best albums I heard in the last years, and it's still on my turntables on a regular basis. Thus, the new album has to fill some pretty big footsteps, and the question is it able to fit them? The Too Long Don't Wanna Listen version is yes. And now the longer version. But first things first. When you start to listen to the record and you know the predecessors, it appears as a typical Mgła album. In terms of innovation, it's not too fancy, but it's far away from being boring and repetitive. Just to make that point clear. Where With Hearts Towards None seemed to be a more loose connection of songs, the band evolved with this record. Beginning with the very first note and ending with the last, it feels solid. It feels like a piece. The individual songs flow into each other with very smooth transitions, which is, at least in my opinion, very appealing to the ear. Additionally, the quality of the production is more than adequate and I really like it. The instruments can be located precisely, which is, for example, very positive when one guitar sticks to tremolo pickings, while the other supports it with an arpeggio-style riffing. But every meal consists of the ingredients, and even if the meal itself is very tasty, a closer look on some condiments is interesting. So, time to have a look at some tracks. As always, the band is just numbering their songs, and I'll start with the second song, which also has been released in advance as sort of a single. For me personally, the central point of the song is a tiny word. Never! It's kind of a one-word refrain within that song. It stands out of the rest and is like an anchor. An aggressive anchor. The aggressiveness comes directly from the vocals, which are on the point. They sound great, raw, aggressive, just enough to give the song and all the others that I don't care about your opinion styled attitude. There's one other thing I like to mention in particular. Most singers tend to sing their verses in a block-like structure. It's like line, 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 pause, line, line, line. Just listen to some pop songs if you want an example. Here it's done a bit different. The coherency is broken up and it's not one block anymore, but pieces floating around forming kind of a porous macro structure where the pores are filled with black metal, just to stick to that sort of materialized picture. But how is that pore-filling stuff here? The song starts off with a little drum solo and it changes to a mid-tempo beat accompanied by tremolo picking. This pretty much stays on course with the whole song, but the drums give it a very nice variability. They're pushing the song into different directions, sometimes fast, sometimes groovy. But the overall impression I had from this song is that it is, regardless of the variations, super straightforward with enough possibilities to break your neck while nodding or headbanging. But every now and then Mgła throws in some little melodies. May it just be a kind of 5-second piece of chords being played note by note. This kind of playfulness is a typical element the band likes to use. And considering the drums, it's the same thing in the third song. The guitars are oriented towards the mid-tempo regime and from time to time almost sluggish. But the drums are again the driving factor here. And this gives the song a nice twist actually. The interaction between speed on the one side, the drums, And tardiness on the other, the guitars, prevents the song from being a just decent song. Variation usually keeps things interesting, and song 3 is a good example here. But let me now focus on the last song, number 6. It starts off with an acoustic intro with some spoken words laying on top, already building up a nice amount of tension here. And without any transition, a fast blast beat driven tremolo riff starts, and the band stays on course with that, only with little variations within the first verse. A little break, at least on the guitar side of things, is a two-toned arpeggio riff which is thrown in this tremolo madness, but after a short moment it's transformed again into a fast tremolo riff. This may sound kind of monotonous, and it is like this up to a certain degree, but the twist is that this creates an intense atmosphere which I really like about black metal in general, and Mgła especially. So, to give this review an end that fits to the end of the album, I'll make it quick and abrupt. Do I like the album? Again, yes. Should you buy the album? Absolutely yes, if you like fresh black metal away from 20-year-old paths. How do I rate it? 8.5 to 9 out of 10. And with this being said, I would like to thank you for your time. As always, rock on and goodbye. Flint out.